Welcome, ACPS families. Thank you for joining us. In order to ensure that all are able to access this presentation in their preferred language, we are providing simultaneous interpretation in Spanish, Amharic, and Arabic today. After the interpreters have provided their instructions, please press the globe icon that will appear at the bottom of your computer screen and select your preferred language. If you're watching on a phone, press the three dots at the bottom right of your screen and then select your preferred language. Thank you. Now I'd like our interpreters to give instructions starting with Spanish, then Amharic, then Arabic, and last, Dari.
Bienvenidas familias de ICPS. Gracias por estar con nosotros para asegurarnos de que todos puedan acceder a esta presentación en su idioma preferido. Ofrecemos interpretación esta noche en español, Dari, Amárico y árabe. Una vez que todos los intérpretes hayamos proporcionado estas instrucciones para el español, presione el icono del globo terráqueo que aparecerá en la parte inferior de la pantalla de su computadora y seleccione su idioma preferido. Si está mirando un teléfono, presione los tres puntos en la parte inferior derecha de la pantalla, escoja Internet para el audio y luego seleccione su idioma preferido. Gracias.
ጤና ይስጥልኝ እንኳን ለኤስፒኤስ ቤተሰብ የውይይት መድረክ በደህና መጣችሁ። ዛሬ ትርጉም አገልግሎት በተለያዩ ቋንቋ ቀርበዋል። አማርኛ የሚለውን በመምረጥ የትርጉም አገልግሎት ታገኛላችሁ። የሴልፎናችሁ ላይ ከሆናችሁ 3 ነጠብጣብ ነካ አድርጋችሁ አማርኛ የሚለውን በመምረጥ ትርጉም አገልግሎት ታገኛላችሁ። በድጋሚ እንኳን ደህና መጣችሁ።
مساء الخير، نشكركم على حضوركم معنا اليوم بهذا الاجتماع. بنحب ننوه بأنه هذا الاجتماع مزود باللغات الأربعة للترجمة الفورية، اللغة العربية، الإسبانيولية، الأمهرية والداري. إذا كنتم عم بتشاهدونا من الكمبيوتر، رجاء الضغط على إشارة الكرة الأرضية واختيار اللغة المناسبة المفضلة لكم وتسمعوا مباشرة اللغة المفضلة. إذا كنتم عم تستخدموا التليفون، رجاء الضغط على على الثلاث نقاط الثلاثة في أسفل الشاشة واختيار اللغة المفضلة لكم للسماع مباشرة في اللغة المفضلة، وهي في هذه الحالة اللغة العربية. شكرا.
دوستان با جلسه بخش رئیس تعلیم التربیه ACPS خوش آمدین. امشب این پروگرام به لسان‌های مختلف ترجمه میشه که در جمله اسپانیایی، امهاریک و عربی و دری می باشه. شما اگر خواسته باشین که مجلس امشب به زبان دری بشنوین، به علامه گلوب در تحت اسکرین پایینی اسکرینتون کلیک کنین، بعدا لسان دلخواه خود را انتخاب کنین. اگر از طریق تلفن یا آیپد خود کانکت هستین، به 3 نقطه در بالایی اسکرین خود کلیک کنین، بعدا میتونین لسان دلخواه خود انتخاب کنین و پرزنتیشن امشب رو بشنوین. دن.
Welcome, families, to the Superintendent's Community Chat. We will start shortly.
information on our webpage, and students can also access that information through their their Chromebooks as well. So that is anonymous. I keep stressing that because I do get that question quite often when I go into school buildings. Staff wellness. Our staff is important. They put in many hours each and every day, and we want to make sure that they are well so they can perform their best to provide the best education possible to your students. And you know, it's really amazing if you walk through a building sometimes and you see the hours that staff put in. I would just hope that when you do that, if you could just extend a thank you to them, because they truly are dedicated to making sure our students are successful. Of course, a priority is always academic achievements, and we want to continue to focus on removing barriers so that all of our students can succeed by providing an equitable education as part of our strategic plan and instructional practices to best make sure that our students are served with a quality education. For the last few years, we've talked about all of that learning recovery. You've heard that probably over and over, but it's really time to shift from that mindset and really focus on best instructional practices that will sustain the success of our students long term. As you know, you've probably heard me say it many times, I was a special education teacher, and looking at our data, you know that is also one of my priorities. I've met with the Special Education Advisory Committee leadership, SEAC, and I've also met with the Alexandria PTA Council, or PTAC, making sure that they are aware and that I have their voice as we move forward in supporting our students with disabilities. As you know, SEAC provides an opportunity for families and other school members to really have a voice and engage. So please reach out to them if you are a family member who has a student with a disability and you have some questions. We also have our Parent Resource Center available to you. And if you need help, that is also online. So I encourage you to reach out as well. Another very special thing to note is that the Office of Specialized Instruction will be hosting family events with the Parent Resource Center in October. So please go on their webpage and look for those dates. If you cannot find them, you can always email us at the Ask email that's on the webpage as well. So the Parent Resource Center, I do get some questions about what is that Parent Resource Center? It enables families to be advocates for their children with special needs, and it helps to establish that cooperative partnership between families and schools. It helps families to receive valuable resources that they may not have been aware of. So please reach out and make use of all of those resources. And our other goal is to really ensure that students with disabilities graduate with a diploma and a clear plan in place for their future. We are partnering this year with the TTAC at George Mason University, and TTAC stands for Training and Technical Assistance Center. They will be providing professional development to all of our specialized instructional staff to support them in supporting students along this journey. We also want to meet all of the student needs, social emotional needs. And you know that's been a focus of ours for the last 2 years. And we want to make sure that we provide resources and address the student needs in that regard. Also, we have additional student supports of school counselors, school nurses, and please don't forget, we do have our Teen Wellness Center for 12 through 19-year-olds, and then our new Hazel Health partnership that will really provide virtual mental health services to our students. So we will be responding to questions from our participants that have been submitted online. So thank you to those who have submitted so many questions in advance on a myriad of topics this evening. And tonight, our Assistant Director of Communications, Gladys Bourdon, I hope I did her name justice. I've been practicing. She says I always get it wrong. Will assist in facilitating the responses to those from our leadership team that you see before me during the first part of this community chat. Following that, we will dedicate the next part of the chat to taking live questions from you here in the audience, as well as from our Zoom and Facebook Live viewers. Our executive cabinet members that are here on stage with me this evening will introduce themselves as they are given the questions to address. But before we begin, I want to address a few of the questions that were sent to me this evening. One of the questions we received in advance has to do with the ACPS website and our efforts towards updating, maintaining, and delivering information that is clear, accessible, and current. As one of ACPS's major communication channels, we are firmly dedicated to meeting the needs of our community. This is an ongoing process where we work closely with our departments and our school web editors on a continuous basis to provide that technical assistance needed, as well as communication support and posting any new and relevant information. We are providing group and one-on-one training sessions for all of our web editors this year. They will include weekly communications that will be offered for guidance on best practices to make sure that information is posted in the proper fashion. ACPS also conforms to level AA of web content accessibility guidelines, and this is aimed at making our website more inclusive and user-friendly for everyone. The addition of navigation buttons also ensures quicker access to pertinent family information, and we will continue to monitor that as we receive your feedback and making sure that our families can access that. But we do have future enhancements coming that will include improved navigation, consistency in our school websites, and integrating the newsletter content in all division website pages. This website will also offer translation right in the web page, ensuring that our users can navigate the website in their preferred language. This will enhance the overall user experience. Another question that I've received is around restrooms. Here at King Street campus at Alexandria City High School, restrooms are closed for a variety of reasons, but there are restrooms available at all times. I do get that question quite often. So it may just not be in the proximity of your student's class, but they are always available for student use. Questions were also received about staffing and hiring. While I will not address specific hiring and student matters, I do want to assure you that I work closely with these departments to ensure that we use a multitude of internal and external communication avenues. ACPS hires teachers who hold and demonstrate eligibility for a VDOE teacher's license, and sometimes that process is selective, and it does take time to make sure we verify that and to get our staff onboarded. We work tirelessly to ensure that our substitute teacher pool is strong, greatly expanding its recruitment and selection process, resulting in larger numbers this year of those staff joining our district. We strongly support and counsel our long-term substitutes to meet the compliance through the eligibility process with the goal of hopefully that one day they too will be in our teacher roles permanently to support our students. Also, by focusing on career switcher pathways, partnerships with universities, and a global marketing approach, which includes partnering with other organizations that will work to bring retired and military staff to our schools, and reaching out to HBCUs and schools with large populations of Latinx students who can bring a diverse set of qualified teachers to our school division. As we know, there are teacher and staffing shortages, and there are also staffing shortages in the area of transportation around bus drivers. We ask that you please be patient as we work to fill these vacancies, as oftentimes our buses will have to make double runs. And we did send a communication out a few weeks ago to let our families know kind of where we are with the staffing around transportation. So we do appreciate your patience. ACPS also works with an external consultant to make annual adjustments to positions that keep them competitive in the market. This has resulted in ACPS successfully benchmarking itself against surrounding divisions and continues to rank in the top 2 for teachers with master's or master's plus 30 scales, and in the top 4 of teachers with bachelor's degree. The last thing I would like to address is regarding our hiring practices. It's one of the areas of focus that I had in my time in serving in HR, and that was to tighten and enhance the protocols around HR. We have worked very hard to ensure that we are consistent with our protocols with hiring, and I'm proud to say that we have instituted equitable hiring processes for our recruitment efforts. And I know our recruitment team works so many long hours. They were even working over the weekend hours to make sure that we were having staff for the first day of school. The hiring pools and teacher vacancies in more detail will be addressed at our school board meeting, as there's a presentation by some of our staff members that you see on stage. So I ask you to tune in on this Thursday night, just a few days away, to get more of that data at our school board meeting. And please know, the question that I get all the time is, when do you recruit? We recruit year round. So if you know of a community member or family member who's interested in a position, we encourage you to direct them to our webpage. So at this time, I know that was a long introduction for me, but I wanted to make sure that I had the opportunity to address the questions that were directed to me in my role as the superintendent. And so now we're going to begin responding to the questions from what we'll call the best executive cabinet in the world. So thank you all for being here to support us through this process. And now we'll turn it over to Ms. Bourdoin. I did well? Okay, thank you.
Hello, good evening. Yes, I am Gladys Bourdoin. Thank you so much for the introduction, Dr. K. Wyatt. I am going to begin with the questions that we received in advance. So thank you to everyone who sent those questions in. I'm going to read the question and I'm going to assign it to the executive cabinet member. And as Dr. K. Wyatt mentioned, we do have a portion of the program for questions coming in via Zoom and Facebook from our audience online and our audience here tonight. And I'm going to start with the first question, and this one is going to be for Dr. Hart. What meaningful measures are taken to mitigate the widely known safety challenges at George Washington Middle School and ACHS? Students are afraid to use the bathrooms.
Thank you
What?
so much for that question, Gladys. And just for formalities, my name is Dr. Alicia Hart. I am the Chief Operating Officer here for ACPS. So I'd like to be able to respond to that question in a few ways. We have a number of security and safety measures that we have in place division-wide. That includes our general vestibules that we have at our schools, where we have a separation where visitors are entering into the school, but they're not having general access to the school hallways. We also have our Raptor visitor management system, which all school visitors have to use that system to come into our school buildings. Specifically, as it relates to our secondary schools, we have some additional measures in place. We do have our weapons abatement pilot program that was started this past spring. That is in place at both George Washington Middle School and Francis C. Hammond Middle School, as well as ACHS King Street, ACHS Minnie Howard, and ACHS CFC campuses. Additionally, we have school security officers at all of our secondary locations to support school administration. We also have school resource officers who are APD officials who support our secondary school locations as well. We also work hand in hand with the wonderful Dr. Jackson and her team on additional focus on SEL support, so we can make sure that our students are not only being attended to from the safety lens, but also from the social emotional lens as well. So thank you.
Thank you. This message is for Dr. Finney. The size of ACHS concerns me. What is the reasoning for redoing Minnie Howard into a STEAM campus, but the building plans not allowing Minnie Howard to be a separate standalone high school?
Thank you, Gladys, for that question. And again, my name is Dr. Pierrette Finney. I'm the Chief Academic Officer for Alexandria City Public Schools. And so, yes, Alexandria City High School is a very large campus. It's greater than 4,500 students. And so taking into account that we have a very large and very diverse student population, one of the recommendations put forth from our guiding coalition was that we have small learning communities. And so because we're moving in the direction of small learning communities, it's important to note that Minnie Howard will not solely be a STEAM campus. Both Minnie Howard and the King Street campus will both be grades 9 through 12 campuses, and they will consist of 5 different academies. And so the academies will include the Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math Academy, which is the STEM Academy, Visual Performing Arts, Visual Performing and Applied Arts, Business and Government, Education and Human Services, and then Global Studies. And so Global Studies will be an exploratory pathway where students, when they're still deciding which pathway they want to go in, they'll be able to decide by getting an exploration of every pathway. And so the academies will further be divided into pathways. And so pathways will be located individually at different campuses, but academies will be located at each campus. And so there are 3 takeaways that I'd like for you to remember. Both the Minnie Howard and King Street campuses will both be 9 through 12 campuses. The academies will be located at both campuses. And then the program of studies, which will be coming out soon, will detail what the pathways will look like. And finally, on October 16th, we will be having a community meeting at Alexandria City High School, where you'll get to learn more about the high school project. So we hope you can join us on October 16th.
Thank you. This question is for Ms. Belmont. What opportunities exist for teachers looking to gain licensure without having to enroll into post-grad programs?
Thank you so much for that question. My name is Kamika Bauman. I am the Executive Director for our Human Resource Department with ACPS. So the programs that we do have available, or the pathways for those who are not wanting to go through the post-grad way, is many. We have partnerships with TFA, Global Education Concepts, and a Grow Your Own program designed specifically to bring in candidates that have or will not necessarily want to go through the traditional way to achieving their master's through a program.
Thank you. And this is for Mr. Turner. How will teachers be compensated to compete with neighboring districts? And is the division planning on restoring salary steps? Will ACPS adjust their budget to reflect the need for more teachers in schools?
Thank you for the question, Gladys. My name is Dominic Turner. I'm the Chief Financial Officer here in the Alexandria City Public Schools. And let me just address that question a few ways. Dr. Kay Wyatt spoke to it a little bit in her opening remarks, but here in ACPS, we continue to benchmark ourselves against all of our surrounding jurisdictions. Each year, we do an internal study where we provide to the school board, usually in November, where several of our larger job class rank amongst the surrounding jurisdictions. For our teacher scales, we have 3: bachelor's degree, master's degree, and master's plus 30. As you heard Dr. Kay Wyatt say earlier, the master's plus 30 and master's degree scales rank in the top 2 of all the surrounding jurisdictions, and our bachelor's degree is in the top 4 of the surrounding jurisdictions. As far as the plans for hiring additional teachers, ACPS staffs or budgets our schools to have staff are superior to the standards of quality here in Virginia. So we continue to work with HR to ensure that we're able to fill those positions that we budget for each year. Thank you.
Thank you. This is for Dr. Hart. What precautions are in place to keep unwanted people from entering the school?
Thank you. I did answer a part of this in the previous response, but just to reiterate, we do have security vestibules at all school locations. We also have our Raptor visitor management system, which all visitors that are not staff or students, they have to go through that particular system to be identified before they are provided access to our buildings. At some of our locations, primarily secondary, we do have safety security officers as well as SROs to support if we ever did have a breach or entry into the school that should not occur. And then, of course, our staff members are required to visibly wear their badges. That is a requirement, again, for easier identification for our security officers and our general staff. We do not always share all of our security measures because we do want to be able to maintain a security posture, but those are the general elements that we have in place at all division schools.
Thank you. This is for Dr. Finney. We have evidence-based literacy curriculum in K-5. Why is there no evidence-based curriculum for mathematics?
Thank you for that question. And so, yes, the Virginia Literacy Act, which was passed in 2022, but was expanded in 2023, did do a first cycle review where evidence-based curriculum was provided for literacy. Now, the Virginia SOLs for math was just passed on August 31st, 2023. And so to support the implementation of the new SOLs, the VDOE has provided instructional guides, instructional resources to promote high quality instruction. So it is important to note that our ACPS curriculum does incorporate instructional practices shown with evidence to support instructional practices such as our Virginia mathematics process goals, visual representations, metacognitive strategies, schema-based instruction, and we also use tools like Dreambox and guided math kits to enhance the mathematical experience. And then, of course, with our literacy instruction, we do use bookworms, reading and writing, and really great reading as well to support teachers. Thank you.
Thank you. This is for Ms. Volmans. Why do we still not have a new academic calendar format despite many years of feedback from parents that is confusing, very hard to follow?
And thank you. This is Rainey Pascal. I'm going to take this question from Ms. Volman since I've been active in supporting the calendar effort. The Office of Communications and the Human Resources Department have worked collaboratively for the design of a new calendar framework intended to be easier for families to read. It should be ready for publication later this month. And when it is ready, we will publish it in the usual ways. It'll be on the website. We will work through PTAs. And of course, we will go through the ACPS Express. Just a couple of notes about some of the new features. We think you will be very pleased visually. There will be one color to represent every day that students are not in session, with a key provided to explain in detail for the reason why schools are not in session. And again, we look for it to come out later this month. Thank you.
Thank you. This is for Ms. Burgess. What is your plan for how the outward image of ACPS and ACHS specifically can be improved and celebrated?
Thank you, Gladys. And hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm Julia Burgos, Chief of School and Community Relations. And I'm glad to get this question because I think we've been doing a lot of work in this arena. If you follow our Express and Insider newsletters every week, we have special sections in those newsletters that celebrate staff, celebrate students, and that we recognize them for the hard work that they're doing and some of the things that they've accomplished and the achievements. The other thing that we've been doing is every month, we work with the Alexandria Times. We put a school profile that really showcases one of our schools, the unique features, and many of the attributes that that particular school has. In addition to that, at every school board meeting, we have a Simply the Best profile where our schools come in and talk about the work that they're doing. You get to see our students and they really celebrate what's happening at that particular school. In addition to that, our team has really been focused on making sure that we have positive news stories. We have a very good relationship with not only the local news media, but we have also had some national coverage as well. I know they're sort of not something that you look for, but we do put a board brief online every quarter that shows our media relations, and we definitely far surpass the number of news coverage that are surrounding school divisions, because we really work to make sure that we're putting the good stories out. Some of the things that we've talked about is our health and nutrition. We've had wonderful stories around that. SEAL. We've had stories about our math teacher, Mr. Kokonis, last year, which had millions of views. And our governor's Health Science Academy, we did a whole feature on that. We also even did a feature on George Washington, working with our human resources team on a special education program. So there's a lot of things that we're doing to make sure that the image of ACPS is really out there in a positive way, and that people understand that we have a wonderful school division. We want them to come here. And we want people to live here in Alexandria and come to our schools. So I'll sort of leave it there because I know we're short on time. Otherwise, I could go on and on about all the things we're doing.
Thank you. This is for Dr. Hart. How and why does the school bus work so that kindergarten children are riding the bus with older kids who may use with the older kids? Should I say that again? I'm sorry, I paused.
I think I got the
Okay.
question, Gladys. I can definitely respond. So thank you for that. So our routes are actually developed to promote efficiency. They are not developed based off of age groups or categories. What we do is make sure that our youngest riders, generally our kindergartners and our first graders, tend to be placed at the front of the bus, where our older students are generally will migrate towards the back. Something else that we do is we work with our principals to make sure that positive behaviors are reinforced with our students, specifically not just in the schoolhouse, but when it comes to riding the bus, to include using appropriate language.
Thank you, Dr. Hart. I have another one coming to you. What is being done to address the concern of Black and Latino gangs in our middle and high schools?
So I want to make sure that as I respond to this, that we are not solely focused on race as affiliated to organized affiliation. If we receive any reports of organized student affiliation from APD or others that raise concern, our team works with the police department to address, and as well with administration to address those concerns.
Thank you. Dr. Finney, what is the latest update on the new AAS program of studies? How are GIAAS students getting differentiated instruction? Oh, I just lost it.
Thank you. So since we implemented our local plan in 2012, GIA, which stands for the General Intellectual Aptitude Services, were provided in the general education environment by the general education teachers. And so just so that our audience has an understanding, we're talking about TAG or advanced studies at this time. And so under our 2023 plan, our GIA services are still being delivered in the general education classroom by the general education teacher. However, differentiation is taking place in through enrichment projects, higher level reading and math groups, higher level questioning, and also gifted lessons using gifted resources. And so in addition, our elementary schools are moving towards a talent development model where our advanced academic teacher, which is now called the AAST teacher, which was formerly known as the TAG teacher, co-plans and co-teaches with the K-3 in the K-3 classroom using gifted resources that are aligned with the program of studies and with our standards.
Yes. Yes, thank you. I have another one for you, Dr. Finney. What are we doing to help students with disabilities succeed in graduating from high school?
Thank you. So for students with disabilities, starting at the age of 14, students with disabilities are required to have a transition plan. And so this transition plan helps them to transition from school to their post-secondary choices, whether it's college, career, or employment, or continuing in adult education. And so in addition to this transition plan, an additional component is credit accommodation. And so credit accommodation provides alternatives for students with disabilities in helping them to achieve their verified credit. And so aligned with the transition plan for students is what's called a transition specialist. And so transition specialists actually start working with our students in elementary school. And so in the elementary school environment, they help our students with disabilities start exploring their areas of interest. As they move into middle school, they start thinking about career and college. And then of course, when they get to high school, they start working directly with our high school students to begin thinking about their transition plan and what they want to do after they leave high school. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Hart, what is our division's plan for keeping facilities across ACPS healthy and in a sustainable form, especially with some of our older buildings?
Thank you, Gladys. We utilize a number of ways to assess our buildings in terms of their condition, primarily our facilities condition index. We completed our FCIs about 1.5 years ago, and that analysis lets us know based off of building the condition of those buildings and whether or not we should invest in major renovations or a full-on replacement. Once we utilize our FCIs as well as work order analysis and visual inspections, we are also able to work through our CIP budget request process to add in requests that are capital in nature to make sure that we are maintaining our buildings to the best of our ability. With that said, I do want to note that we have invested millions of dollars over the last 4 years into both George Washington Middle School and Francis C. Hammond, specifically with HVAC replacement, asbestos remediation, flooring replacements, and painting projects. We still have additional work that is left to be completed on those buildings as well as some of our older buildings, but our full capital improvement plan can be found online, and we do go into detail in that plan regarding upcoming projects.
Thank you. Ms. Volmond? Families want to know how many teachers are not in place, how many open positions are there for unlicensed and licensed teachers, and some related service providers for students with disabilities.
Thank you so much for that question. Hot topic. So currently we do have 48 full-time teacher vacancies, and while 10 of those are for special education vacancies, we are making sure that all students are receiving the services that they are supposed to be receiving. So we do counsel and encourage and work hard daily in ensuring that we have long-term substitutes that are in those places, and we work with contracted staffing agencies to ensure that we can get qualified individuals into those spaces, pocketed or coupled with additional support. Thank you.
Thank you. To have a follow-up, what is ACPS's hiring, staffing strategy and vision towards licensed personnel? Where do you see the teaching staff in 5 years?
So while I can't predict where we'll be in the next 5 years, I can say that today we are using innovative and strategic approaches as we are being I would say challenged with the changing of professions. We know in the education field that a lot of people have exited into other fields, finding new passions. And so while we identify that, we know we are up against something that we have not been up against in the past. And so we are taking approaches to think outside of the box and partner with different agencies that maybe in the past education has not, to continue on our efforts to get good and qualified individuals in front of our students. So again, while I can't predict in the next 5 years where we'll be, we hope to be in a much better place than where we are today.
Thank you. I'm gonna turn over a little bit, and I'm gonna look at some questions that we have received through Zoom. And I'm also gonna ask some questions from our audience here. So if you have a question, please make sure you raise your hand. And we do have folks raise your hand. Krishna, she has the mic, and Tanika, okay. So just keep raising your hand and they'll come to you. I'm gonna start with one. We got one? Okay.
My name is Arnisha. My daughter goes to Francis C. Hammond. I actually have a few questions, so I'm gonna try to make it quick. One of the questions is, how do you handle vaping on school campuses? That's something that my daughter comes home and discusses with me. So while obviously the kids are not smoking full-blown cigarettes, vaping is still not safe. So what is your, I guess, how do you guys handle that in the schools?
I apologize. I didn't hear part of that question, and I want to make sure we're able to address it. Was it in relation to vaping? I'm sorry.
Yes, just how do you handle vaping in the schools? Because I know drugs obviously is not allowed, but.
Yes, so vaping is also prohibited on school grounds. One thing that we are still working through with our school administration is administration of our vape detectors, which we have installed in certain bathrooms. And once those detectors are activated, our administrators will receive an alert to let them know that there is a vaping substance that is occurring in the restrooms or in any area of the building where it's installed, and then they will be able to address that concern in real time. So hopefully within the next few weeks, that will be online and coordinated with our school administrators so we can move forward with eliminating the use of vapes within our buildings.
And I will add to that. I'm Dr. Marcia Jackson. I'm the Chief of Student Services and Equity. And part of our work in our department is to support our students with learning about substances that could be harmful to them. And so we do have substance abuse counselors who work at the middle school level, the high school level, to do prevention work, to bring awareness to the dangers of substances among our students. And so that is also a prevention effort and intervention effort that we offer. When students are found to have substances, we do have a seminar that we ask the student and the family invite them to come to that seminar so that they can get education and training on the dangers of students using substances. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
I'm gonna go, yes.
yes, we do have another question here.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Redding, and I'm actually a substitute teacher. I have been for 2 years, and I was in a class, I was subbing the first week of school in a class that you came into, Dr. K. Wyatt. So that was interesting. But my question is specifically after listening to you regarding staffing for students with disabilities. When I'm not a substitute, my other hat is a parent for a child with hearing loss. And currently, we don't have an audiologist. Our audiologist for the entire district of Alexandria left over the summer, and it's not even posted on the website right now as an open position. And I know that the hardware, the DM systems that they use in the elementary school aren't being used. My son comes home saying that the boots that they use aren't being used. So it's a pretty specific position, but I'm hoping that the teacher of the deaf position, which is posted, is going to get filled. And I'm hoping that you can address the audiologist for the school as well.
Thank you so much for that. I will definitely take a look into that and work with this chiefs. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. Also, we do work with contracted services, and we're still in talks with some of those hard to fill areas. And I just want to commend Ms. Velmont, who's only been with us for almost 2 weeks now, who's really jumped in to make sure that we continue those efforts around those hard to fill positions.
Thank you. I'm gonna go to some questions on Zoom. Dr. Jackson, what plans do we have to address issues related to school safety, bullying, and student wellness?
Thank you for that question, Gladys. And one of the things that we do in all of our schools is teach social emotional learning. And in particular, we work with our students to, again, be preventative. And through that social emotional learning, we teach students how to recognize and appreciate the differences that each student brings into the classroom. We are a restorative practices school division where we teach students how to have community circles so that they can get to know one another, and then their differences don't become something that is a problem, but it becomes something that's celebrated. So through our social emotional learning program, we actively teach our students how to get along with one another, how to deal with strong feelings or emotions, as well as we have a full staff of school counselors, school nurses, psychologists, and social workers in the schools to support students who might need more intensive supports in order to get along with another student. So safety is our #1 priority, and also teaching our students how to appreciate and respect and honor the different cultures that are in our schools. So thank you for that question.
Thank you. Looks like we have more from our room. Yes.
Hi, my name is Yasmin. My question is, how do you guys plan to enhance or even see the relationship between administration and the children and the family members? I think I've had a lot of issues last year, especially through elementary, and even getting in contact with the administration, whether it be superintendent or other people in reference to transfers or changes, and no response.
Her question was really around communication and that she found some trouble addressing administration, and how do we plan to address that? Access to administration when you have a question. Is that correct?
Yeah. So thank you for that question. And so in my former role as Executive Director of school leadership, and now with Rainey Pascal serving in that role, we work very closely with school leaders, principals, and assistant principals. And so actually tomorrow we do have a principals meeting where I will reiterate to them about the importance of communicating with parents, about making sure that they're following up on emails, ensuring that they're hosting their parent coffees and PTA meetings, and just being open to being collaborative and having feedback from parents. And so we do apologize if you've had a bad experience previously, but we'll definitely work, with our school leaders moving forward to make sure that they're aware of the collaboration that needs to happen moving forward.
Thank you. Tanika, yes.
Hi, I'm Joseph Reed. I'm a teacher at the IA. My question is have we featured the IA in all of those lovely news outlets, and also let you know that I can help be part of a solution on anything? I'm volunteering my services. So.
Well, I will say you have very good timing because just today we completed a interview on the IA, but the one at Hammond, and we will be next focusing on, we've done a couple of things with the IA here as well. So they wanted to get a middle school experience, but it's definitely a focus for us, and that's going to be a really, really good story. We had quite a few participate. So we hear you, and believe me, we are definitely looking to focus on the IA as well. And we'll come find you.
Krishna?
Hello, me again. So I had a question about sports in middle schools, and my concern is, I know right now it's called intramural, I think is what it's called, where they're just kind of competing with each other. So sports, dances, just extracurricular stuff that kind of keeps the middle school kids motivated. I just feel like right now they really don't have much to look forward to besides just their grades. So I was wondering like where you guys are with having traditional sports where they can compete with other schools and look forward to being more active in that way.
Well, thank you for that question. It's such a timely question. A couple of weeks ago, we did do a presentation for the school board on middle school athletics, where we do have a proposal put forth on enhancing our middle school athletics and activities where we would have an opportunity to compete with other school divisions, such as Arlington and Fairfax. And so expanding not only the students that we're able to compete with in other divisions, but also expanding the offerings that we would be providing to our students. So we're hoping that that proposal will go forth for approval.
Thank you. I'm going to take.
Hold on, Gladys. I'm
Sorry.
gonna
Yep.
add to that question. As Dr. Finney was saying, there was a presentation on middle school athletics just given to the. So as Dr. Finney was just saying, there was a presentation just given to the school board on middle school athletics, and this, I think past week or maybe 2 weeks ago, it was added as a school board budget priority. So as we go through the budget process this year, we will be looking on how to be able to fund that moving forward. As I tell everybody, if the size of the pie isn't getting bigger, that means that some of the slices have to get smaller. So we will have to look at how we're going to fund those programs moving forward. And then we also have to work with our city counterparts to make sure that we have the facilities and fields available for our middle school students to use as well. So it is going to be a part of the process this year to figure out how do we fund that to be able to offer that to our middle school students.
Thank you. I'm going to take one from Zoom. I think this is for Mr. Page, perhaps. What specific metrics and benchmarks will you use to measure the success of your initiatives and the overall performance of the school division?
Thank you so much for the question. I just want to confirm I heard it. What specific metrics are we using to measure?
Benchmarks to measure the success of our initiatives and the overall performance of our division.
Yeah, absolutely. So, sorry, introduce myself. My name is Dr. Clint Page. I'm the Chief of Accountability and Research here within Alexandria City Public Schools. And in terms of measurement and how we go about that work, specifically at the highest level, we have what we call key performance indicators that are kind of those kind of when you go into the doctor, right? The wellness checks of how are we doing? What's our blood pressure? What's our temperature and the key areas that we've identified within the strategic plan? So our key performance indicators are reported out on our Equity for All dashboard twice annually, both in terms of a formative benchmark that happens mid-year, as well as an end of year benchmark, summative benchmark that happens at the end of the year. And that's part of our strategic plan in looking at how we are doing in terms of eliminating historic disparities within our academic data, as well as our access data for our students as part of our larger strategic plan. I would say the other big piece in terms of measurement and how we go about improving in the division is through a lens of continuous improvement and how we embrace just-in-time measurement to really inform our actions and making sure we're doing quick cycles of learning on any improvements that we are putting in place to know, is this working, right? How will we know? And what are the measurement tools that we need and what are the structures that we need in place to really do that learning? So that's our Plan, Do, Study, Act cycles and other things that staff are involved in to make sure we continue to push the needle forward in service to our students and families.
Thank you, Dr. Page. This one might be for both facilities and school and community relations. What are we doing to notify parents about late buses? We have gotten no notices.
So we notify on late buses via Parent Square primarily. We do encourage our families and parents to sign up for Parent Square if you haven't already done so. It is a wonderful communication tool that automatically translates our messaging, and that is very important as we want to make sure that we are serving our diverse population within the school division. So again, we share those messages on late buses via Parent Square, and please enroll in the program if you have not done so.
Thank you. What organizations are we specifically partnering with to help fill vacancies? How can the community help?
Thank you for that question. So I think I heard it to ask how the community can assist with vacancies and filling those and specific partnerships. Thank you so much for that. So while I do encourage for those to attend our board meeting on Thursday, we will be providing a staffing update in there. I can say that the community's partnership with the ACPS, as well as spreading the word that we have teacher vacancies. When you know someone, encourage someone, and you trust that someone with our students, have them to apply. We are working tirelessly to ensure that we are making our recruiting efforts as well as our onboarding process as efficient and seamless as possible, so that once we do get a good person, we quickly get them in and get them prepared for our students. So I believe that continued support with the community, as well as being a promoter for ACPS, where you find individuals that you would want to be in front of our students, encourage them to apply. Thank you.
Thank you. That is all of the questions that we have for tonight. And I want to thank everyone. We want to thank everyone. I am going to turn it over to Dr. Melanie K. Wyatt. Okay.
I'm going to stay over here with my team. Actually, I'm going to go back to one question. I guess that's the privilege I can take as being the superintendent, because recruitment is near and dear to my heart. As you know, I formerly sat in Ms. Volman's role and know how hard that work is. And so what I always like to say, how can the community help? We are all recruiters, as parents, as students, as bus drivers, as community partners. When we're telling our story about Alexandria, whether it's from the parent lens, like I said, or a partnership lens, that is a recruitment strategy. So please encourage and tell those stories. If you're out in a community event and they're asking you about Alexandria City Public Schools, just direct them back to our webpage. And we would love to have a conversation with them about how they can serve in one of the roles that we have that are vacant currently, to move this division in the right direction and to continue that rich history that we have. So sorry, they will laugh at me because I will recruit you everywhere that we are. So just be prepared for that. Some people can attest to that, because I probably recruited you just if you were at the grocery store or you just moved here. We would love to have you say yes to ACPS. So really, I just wanted to close by saying I'm really grateful to have this opportunity so that we can hear the voice of the community. I also do meetings with our students at the high school level. Last year, I started at the middle school level, and this year I will be going into elementary schools to even hear those very young voices, because believe it or not, middle schoolers and elementary school students will give you the true experience of what they feel school should be. So I'm so excited to have that opportunity. Also, I will be in the community. What we're doing this year is called Chats on the Spot. So you might see me at a bus stop, or you might see us in different locations at community events, wanting to continue to hear the voice and how we can really make changes and support our families and our students moving forward. So this is important work that we do to ensure the equity for all of our students and really all of our school communities. So thank you to our parents for their support, our partners, and a very special thank you to our staff who put in those long hours. I want to remind everyone of our strategic plan, and I think it's important just to hear the plan's mission, because that's the work we do when we walk into our buildings and our offices every single day. And that's ensuring success by inspiring students and addressing barriers to learning. That's the work that we do. And everything else that you heard here tonight goes along with supporting that plan and mission and the work that we do. So we thank you for entrusting your students with us as we carry out that mission. And I have to say, as your new superintendent, I get a little bit emotional about saying this, because we are so dedicated, and that's the part that you don't see. You see us sitting here this evening at this table answering questions, but this team, as well as the teams in our schools, are working long hours to make sure that everything each and every day is about students. And so I am so proud and inspired to serve in this role and to continue to come out and connect with you all in the community, because the work that we do is important. It's not about today. We are future focused. We have to be sustainable in this work. And that's why we need your voice, and we need your support and your commitment to doing that great work. So thank you for listening to us. We will continue to seek out your voices as we go along this. And I know my team, I should make them probably say it together almost as a chant, right? We are one team on one journey, and we're so proud of that. You notice I only had one say it. They're tired of hearing me say that. I even bought them shirts in case they forgot what it was. Of course, we're not wearing them tonight, but we are really, really committed to that work. And sometimes we're working on Saturdays and Sundays. And I say that because I want them to know how grateful I am that you answer my phone calls on the weekends when we're really trying to make sure that things are right for Monday. And so I'm sure they're probably saying, I don't want to answer that, but they always pick up and they're always dedicated. So to my team, my family, I thank you. So with that being said, as we close out tonight, we want to assure that each and every Alexandria City Public School student receives the education they need, and most importantly, the education they deserve. So as we close out, I don't want you to think I'm running away, but I do have to, I think, have to step away to do a media interview, but we are here for you each and every day. I would also like to thank all of our online folks. I think we had a total of over 200 that joined us online tonight. So thank you for taking the time out to join us online. Thank you to our staff in the back, who we can barely see with the glaring lights, but we're so grateful. And thank you to the students and staff who allowed us to be here tonight and accommodate us. Thank you to our translators, and thank you parents and students. I will see you soon. Thank you.